talks. So I'm Cheuk, and if you are a maintainer or if you love to have your own library, Python libraries on PyPI, feel free to contact me. These are my contact details right now showing on the screen. Yeah, just I'm a very friendly person. Feel free to contact me. Yeah, I'm Cheuk, and what do I do? Who am I? I am actually, I would say that I'm a Pythonister and I love open source project. I have been involved in quite a few projects in the past few years. One of them is Terminus DB, which is an open source graph database. I'm working with the team right now full time, which I feel very blessed. Also, I love organizing events. So in I just get more and more engaged in organizing community events, especially community conferences like Euro Python, PyData Global. I also organize Pyjamas, which is an online conference. Also, one thing I love is sprints. So I'll be organizing a few mentored sprints, which we encourage new contributions to open source libraries. New contributors will get basically help from the maintainers of the library or people with more experience, so they would feel more comfortable making their first pull request. Also, I love streaming. I love talking, as you can see. So if you like seeing me live doing stuff with Python, feel free to follow me on Twitch. So today the story is basically about my story that I'm maintaining the Python client of Terminus DB. I'm very proud of doing it, and there are moments that I made mistakes, including the story that I'm going to tell you today. So please enjoy. So being a maintainer, of course, is a very exciting thing. You gotta organize the issues because people can open issues on your project. Some of them may be something that is, for example, bug report or feature request, then you have to triage and assign it to the right person in the team. Lots of the open source project is not a one-man band, because then you will have people that you may assign the issues to, that they would have a look or they would be working on it. Also, some of the issues may be a question, so you have to basically answer it. So that's some of the very heavy lifting job right there. Code review, if you are very lucky to have contributors, then they send pull requests, you have to review it. Sometimes it takes some back and forth, so also some work was put into it as well. Leading sprints, like I said, I love sprints. I love bringing new people on board. There's nothing more happy than seeing new contributors to be contributing to the code. So it's something fun to do, especially now when we have, safely, being indoor and at home, we could do something fun with open source project. And releasing, of course, all this hard work need to be put into a product that different people release it in a different platform, different way, but because I'm maintaining a Python library, the way to go is to upload it on PyPI, which is the Python index library. I'm sure that everybody knows. And it's some fun stuff going on there, especially when things went wrong. So usually, so there's a lot of ways to release libraries on PyPI. You could, of course, build a wheel with setup tools, or now you can use different things like poetry and other stuff as well. But what we normally do, I think a lot of projects do the same, is to have a continuous integration process to deploy it. So you can set up a new environment with different setup, for example, different versions of Python, and run all the tests, and then deploy it. So what we do is that we used to use Traverse, and now we use GitHub Action because our code base is hosted on GitHub. So GitHub Action is a very popular tool nowadays. That what happened is that you will spin up some new images with GitHub Action with different environment setup, and with talks I can have new environment that you can easily install dependencies and you can run everything there. So, which is great. And of course, run the tests. So you can actually it allows you to run tests on different versions of Python. You can choose, what we do is like we run from Python 3.6 to 3.9. I think 3.10 is coming soon as well. And also generate the docs, because a lot of times when you make changes, you have to also update your documentation just to make sure that everything is stay updated, so people know what's have been changed, and then they will be, documentation need to match with the product, right? So yeah, that's why it's good to integrate that in the CI process. Then you release it on PyPI. So it's just you just need a token, and then you just put it as a secret on GitHub Action, and then you can release it on PyPI. So it sounds straightforward, but it's not, because there are so many dependencies along the way. Tox, obviously, is one of them. There's also other tools like virtual env that you use to generate a new virtual environment. There are other test suites, PyTest, we're using PyTest, so there's another dependencies. Of course, the project itself got its own dependencies, so there's a lot of dependencies that got involved. And that's how it become more complicated, because, there are a lot of, things that could go wrong if, the version doesn't match, or in my case, if the dependencies is broken. So the first story is, I would describe it as very tasty. Why? Because this is the error that I got. So what happened is that I was doing a release on Friday with my colleague, and then we're just like, okay, everything is good, we are ready. All the tests passed, and then we just push it, right? With the tag, of course, with the new version number, and tag it and push it. And then, the test was passing, not too long ago, and maybe less than an hour ago, to be honest. And then, it just got broken suddenly. We haven't changed anything that would possibly causing the test to fail or anything. So we just look at the log of Travis, and then we see this error. What is a pastron activator? What's going on here? Pastron? Like, seriously, this sounds so tasty. It just reminds me of pastry and croissant. I love croissant, so I was like, what's going on? Is it a joke? Is it like someone hacked the library? Because we know that it's from virtual env, right? Because it's like virtualenv.activation.python. So it's from virtual env. So it's like, it's obviously a spelling mistake, but it's so funny that, we just think it's a joke. So do a quick search online, and easily we found the issue that someone already encountered this earlier than us, maybe just a few minutes earlier than us, open a new issue. So we basically go to look at it on GitHub, and everybody was freaking out. We are not the only one that encountered this, because virtual env is so popular. Everybody was like that was running the test at the time that actually has dependencies with virtual env got this error, and everybody freaked out. It's like, what's going on? Why my pipeline is broken? And people there is like, okay, chill, you just roll back, it's fine, it's just the new release got a typo in it. And the maintainer was there as well. It's like, oh, sorry, Friday, not a good day to release. Well, obviously. And there's a typo, we are releasing a patch right away, just hang on for a few minutes. It's like, yeah, okay. So yeah, it's funny. I just find it funny. I don't think it's something that's horrible. And people make mistake. It could be an autocomplete or something, that why this typo is introduced. But it's just funny. And and like, well, of course, if you're a maintainer, you need to be more careful about what you're releasing. But people do make mistakes, right? It's like, we can be very, very careful, but people still make mistakes. And in this case, it's a very easy fix. It's fine. It's just caused a little bit of panic attack for everybody. But everything is fine. Everything is fine. It's just so funny that pastron. Like, come on, really? I run a croissant. So that's Friday. Well, everything went wrong on a Friday. So this is the first time I encountered something so funny, and of course I remember it, and I always want to tell people about it. The second story. Similar thing, not so funny. Why? Because you see that basically I become Sherlock Holmes. Like, it's so difficult to pinpoint what's going on, because this is the error that I get. So this error, if you put it on a search engine like Google, that you'll find a lot of people mention it. It's a very common error that you will get. Why? Because this is caused by a version difference between two versions of Python. So for Python 3.7 and before, and for Python 3.8 and after, where this module sits got changed. Well, I think that maybe the core developers thinks that it's make more sense to be sitting under import lib, for metadata to sit under import lib. I forgot which is it, like the before or after version of it, but it's just that the metadata position got changed or something like that. So you have to import it differently. So a lot of when this change first introduced, a lot of maintainers, of course, oversee this change, and then error, and then you have to include some checks to deal with it. It's a common mistake. It's not that difficult to fix, but it's just a very common mistake. So when I search for what library is causing it, well, I hope it's not virtual env again, but which one of my dependencies introduced this thing, right? Is a bit difficult. Well, you can look it from a traceback, but I think, I thought it's gonna be like as easy as last time, so I wasn't paying attention to the traceback and stuff. I was like, so which of my dependencies is causing this? And it's probably just very easily solved by checking all the release stage, because it was fine a few hours ago. So it may be like something that just got released, right? So, yep, I become Sherlock Holmes and just like, okay, I gotta take this case on, and I gotta investigate it. So I check the release date, I check everything, and I thought it's Tux. I genuinely thought it's Tux because it's the one of my dependencies that got released most recently, right? So it must be it. And I go to Talks, I open an issue, but someone points me out that no, actually it's pip_tool that causing it. And then I was like, well, I don't have pip_tool on my dependency list. What's happening? So eventually, after I have investigated this for my whole afternoon, again Friday, my whole afternoon on Friday, that what happened is that in my Talks environment, I have pip_tools as a dependency. That's why the traceback kind of also mentioned Talks, but that's why I thought it's Talks, but actually it's pip_tools. And I went there, the maintainer said that they actually noticed the problem, they are releasing the patch, but because GitHub Action was down for a few hours, again, don't do it on Friday because nobody assumed that you work on Friday afternoon. so GitHub Action basically was down for a few hours, so their patch is not releasing. I can't release it anyway, so I just wait there for a while, and then after GitHub Action is back on action, then everything's fine. pip_tool's got a new patch, and I got to release my own library. So I guess it's a happy ending for everybody, which is great. And I just found it's a very funny story to tell. It's a small story, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much.